Kamari, how did you see Daylen play in that game against Auburn? It seemed like early on, gave up a few plays, then as that game went on, had some big pass breakups. How did you think Daylen played and how he just stood up some of those big moments?
Me personally, I think Daylen played very well. He showed a lot of maturity. He showed a lot of grit and a lot of fight in the game, and he was very composed the whole game. And he came up with some really big time plays. So I think he played very well.
Yeah, watching the Kentucky-Florida game, it seemed like Kentucky really wanted to try and out physical the Florida cornerbacks, especially downfield and things like that. How does Georgia prepare you guys to be physical in terms of both tackling and holding up and making plays at that point of the game?
I just say that's just something that we practice every day, just being physical. That's something that we pride ourselves on at Georgia, just being physical in all phases, in our team. So just honing in on everything that we've been working on all year and just focusing on the game plan and just locking in on whatever it takes to win.
You talk about Daylen there, but we saw Julian Humphrey on a couple drives. What does it mean to have a guy like him that can come in and provide meaningful drives? If you or Daylen need to come off for a second, it feels like you guys haven't really had a guy like that to be able to do that these past few years.
It's a really good feeling, just to know that you have guys that are able to play in. Just if a guy goes down, next man up, nothing will really change because at all phases, guys are locked in and understand the game plan and are willing to do anything for the team.
Kamari, what do you remember about that Kentucky game from last year, apart from the freezing cold?
It was so cold. I mean, I'm just glad it's not going to be that cold this year. But Kentucky's always a super physical game. From the moment I got in here, that's all that we've talked about whenever we play Kentucky. It's going to be a super physical game. So last year was no different. It was very physical, even in the cold. That's the most thing that just pops up in my mind is physicality.
Just talk about a defensive back, cornerback in particular role in run defense. Obviously, number one, you got to make sure and have guys covered. We know that safeties are heavily involved with run fits, and filling gaps in there. What about cornerbacks? What is your chief thing, and what kind of run game do you see these guys bringing in here Saturday?
Really for the corners, whenever the corners are involved in the run game, it's mostly just really about your eyes. Sometimes a lot of teams like to crack, and then the corners have to replace off the crack, and just being able to see the crack and making sure it's not a crack and go and stuff like that, and being able to fit off that and make sure that the running back gets down.
Their run game, what's your impression?
Say that one more time.
Of their Kentucky's run game.
Oh, they have a really good run game. They have a really good O-line, really good backfield. Guys who can make a couple people miss, guys who can run through the tackle. So it's going to be a very good game.
Yeah, everybody always talks about how physical Kentucky is. From our perspective, every football game looks physical, right? So from your perspective, what makes Kentucky so much more physical than the other teams y'all play on the schedule?
I just think that's something that Kentucky prides themselves on, is just being physical. At the line of scrimmage, they pride themselves on running the ball first, or run first team. So if that's something that you pride yourself on, then that's what you're going to really focus on.
We talked a lot about physicality, but I feel like just from a visual perspective, you've kind of demonstrated yourself as one of the most physical corners in the league. I know you've laid some pretty big hits on some guys that I know you yourself would be pretty proud of. How important is that in maybe facing a team like Kentucky that they themselves is so physical?
Really, it's just like it's good on good, So this is just really, who can do what they do best, better than other teams. So that's what it comes down to, is just trying to do your job better than the man across from you.
Corey, how big was getting Javon back on Saturday? Just how did you think he played his first game back?
I think JB played really well. He was flying around, making a lot of plays. It's always good to see him back. He fought back from injury. He came back a lot earlier than a lot of people expected, and just to see him out there, being able to play and do the things he loves, it's just a great feeling.
Just to ask you about Malachi's pick at the end of the game, it feels like you guys have been having a lot of game-sealing interceptions. First of all, what do you feel about his in general? Then also, what do you feel about you and the rest of the secondary's ability to close out games, especially in big-time moments like that one?
I'd say, that was a big-time interception. He had blanket coverage on him. But I'd also say, it was really the whole defense working together, because without the rush, the quarterback wouldn't have been erring, and he wouldn't have, thrown such a awkward pass. So I mean, you know, it was just really the whole defense working in tandem. You know, rushing coverage working together, and we were able to get the pick in the game.
Yeah, Kamari, I think Auburn only had like 6 or 7 pass attempts in the first half last week. Devin Leary only had 9 total pass attempts last week in their football game. When you go up against a matchup where you know, hey, the opponent's going to be running the ball majority of the downs, is there a different mindset? I mean, you're a corner. You're there to cover. Normally.
Right. I definitely say, you know, just keep your attendance on because, you know, a lot of the time, you know, whenever it's just a lot of run, you know, they always pop out with a pass or a shot. You know, just trying to keep your antennas on. You know, just keep staying focused throughout the game because you know it can get hard. You know, just because a lot of things, you know, especially at the corner position, you know, you don't get to really control. You know, whether the ball comes to you or not. You know, it's not like the safety position. So just really, you know, just staying focused on, you know, the task at hand, your keys and everything like that.
I know Kentucky's a very run-heavy team, but they still had a quarterback in Devin Leary that, you know, put up a lot of stats when he was at NC State. What did you see from him, whether it was just watching games of him playing while he was at NC State or when you were breaking down his film so far through Kentucky, so far through the season?
I'd say, you know, he's a very good quarterback, very poised in the pocket. He has a really big arm, and he has some really good targets out there that he can get the ball to some guys who can, you know, extend plays and make big time plays for him.
Kirby was talking about the value of playing football and the lessons that you can learn through playing it. What's the biggest one that you feel like you've learned through playing this sport?
The biggest lesson I've learned from playing football is just, I say it just taught me how to be consistent, you know, be consistent in my work ethic, be consistent in, you know, the way I prepare every day and, you know, how I approach every day. So I say, you know, the game of football has taught me how to be consistent because especially at this level, you know, you have to come in with the same workman's mindset, you know, every day just to get to the point where you want to be. It's not the same as, you know, when you were growing up, whenever you could just do whatever you want and then still be the best out there. You know, there's a lot of guys, you know, in this league around the country who are just as good as you. So there's certain things you have to do to, you know, set yourself apart from others.
We had a chance to talk to Brett Thorson a little bit. What has it been like seeing him, you know, having him on this team, and also what kind of weapon is he that can, you know, flip the field and put you guys on defense in such good position, consistent?
Brett's great. Thor, he's super funny for one, and he just brings like a different energy, like that Australian energy. You know, we never had that before. But you know, he's a really big time weapon on special teams. You know, he's able to create a lot of momentum plays for us. You know, with all the punts that he, you know, downs inside the 10. You know, it helps us out tremendously. So me personally, I'm super grateful for him because, you know, I'd much rather, you know, the offense start on the 2-yard line than like the 25. So I'm really appreciative of Thor.
Let's take 2 more questions.
Kamari, what's the biggest thing you guys are trying to clean up as it comes to, you know, stopping the run?
You know, I just say we're just locking in on, you know, the things that we've been working on all year, all team run. You know, just, you know, fitting things right, looking at our keys, you know, getting in the right gap schemes and stuff like that.
Last question.
Thank
All right,
you.
thank you.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Kamari.
Kamari.
Appreciate it.